I was on NPR. They said, what's your favorite street in America? And you cannot say any street where you live in New York. And I said, Main Street, Nantucket. What a fantastic street. And of course, one of the reasons for it is because of these wonderful American elms. The American elms are gone now, but they put other trees. And there is no other way to make a great street. There is no simpler way to make a great street than great street trees. Great Barrington, another street we wrote about in the book, used to look like this. And so many American cities used to look like this. I just worked in West Haven, Connecticut, which was part of the first municipal tree planting program in the world, and they became known as Elm City. Trees, of course, also do this. They not only shape the street, they shape the sidewalk, and they make a place where you want to go and stand with your, look at the other people. They make a reason for going downtown, even if you're not going to one of those spaces. Here's the sidewalk at Great Barrington, with trees that may have been cut down this week by the DOT, which planted them 25 years ago. This is a lesson that I learned actually working on the book. When the arborist and the landscape architect try to talk you into planting all these different hybrids like this that will never spread over the tree and over the street, and they want you to put them in a pot so they'll never grow too big, don't do it, because you get either crappy trees or you get trees. The thing about a hybrid is you don't know what's going to happen to it. And so the engineer gets to come along later and say, oh, it's a problem, let's cut it down. So in the book we looked at old streets of many different kinds, and of course one of the great streets for trees in the world are the Ramblas in Barcelona. And we came home thinking, oh, that's a great idea. And so when near me, this is 2nd Avenue in New York. 2nd Avenue is currently dug up for the subway, and so it's going to be replaced, and it's going to have a subway underneath it. And it's probably the main outdoor dining space of the Upper East Side, which is where I live. So we thought, we can do something better than an auto sewer. And it should be 20 seconds are up. There we go. Here's what it looks like today. The great dining street of the Upper East Side, where people are paying $1,000 a foot to live and $100 a plate to sit right here next to the truck. And so we came up with a section sort of like the Rambla, and which is going to come any second now. Oh, there's the actual Rambla. We thought, why not make it look like this? Why not have a place that's different than the other streets on the Upper East Side? Cities need a variety of streets. They need a combination of order and richness. And Manhattan, the grid has plenty of order, but it needs richness. And so we said, let's make this street really different. Let's make it a place for people, which is something that's happening in New York now. And so here's our section for the street, where a lot of this would probably be cafe tables, dining room tables. There is a street in Barcelona where they do that, one of the Ramblas. And here's a boulevard in Barcelona, Paseo de Gracia. And of course, anybody who's been on a new urban charrette has probably said, well, let's do a boulevard. Let's do a multi-way boulevard. Multi-way means you have the side lanes and the center lanes. And so here's one that Dover Coal did down in Virginia, which I think is starting construction now. Is that true?
Stay tuned.
And
we only draw controversial things, John.
A typical auto sewer, power center or something, parking lot next to it. So phase one was take some of the parking lot, put a sidewalk on it, turn this into a multi-way boulevard with a slow parked car, but very narrow, a slow bike lane over the side, and then the next step is you get buildings growing up, and over time you get large buildings growing up. And I think that even though we've been doing this unsuccessfully for a long time, I think the moment for this has arrived. And in New York we have Queens Boulevard. We have this, Here's Queens Boulevard. There are 5 subway lines underneath here. It is an auto sewer. You can see people don't really want to live on it. You know, here are lots of people living. Here are one-story taxpayers that have been there since 1920 because people want to live off it. So with the de Blasio housing plan and the DOT plans for Vision Zero with our new 25-mile-per-hour speed limit, we did this plan making it a multi-way boulevard with lots of trees. And by the way, this picture was taken by a drone. I want a drone. Our new section, we extend the sidewalk by more than 10 feet. We have a slow bike lane here. We have a share road here. We have parked cars, buses out here. And this is a very heavy-duty street. These cars are still going to be going pretty fast. And there's a view of it today. There is a divider here. It's not surprising the cars over here are going just as fast as the cars out here. And it's not surprising, this is one of the most dangerous streets in New York. 60% of the accidents in New York happen on 10% of the streets, and this is one of them. And so here's our vision for the city of what to do. Extend the sidewalk out. Here's the permeable bike lane, so these trees can go well because we don't plant them the way they did in that other photo. Then the multi-way boulevard, very slow, and then out there are the cars and the buses going quickly. But really, you've got about a 40-foot zone out to here that's a people zone, and so of course we think it's going to grow up, and that's going to solve the de Blasio housing plan of where does it put 200,000 units. The end.